All right, welcome to season 2 of the 10-minute Dynasty. So I ran right through the off-season after Steelers crashed out of the playoffs in a terrible wildcard game. And poor Mark Chagall that we're playing in this Road to MVP Dynasty got poked in the eye and had to leave the game halfway through as well. So a sad end to the season, but we are now uh, at training camps in season 2. So Las Vegas won the bowl, the championship bowl last season, and I have raced right through um, free agency and the draft. But we will be going over the roster here and then maybe running training camps and calling it a an episode. So for starters, let's just check in with Mark. Mark is doing fine. He increased in tackling and strength in the end of last season, and he's working his way slowly towards level 2 so we can get another badge. We have increased quite a lot, so we've gone up 6 in tackling in the first season, and I think a couple of points in strength as well, and maybe 1 point in speed. And maybe even a bit in endurance. I don't recall where I said it. Another interesting thing is that last season we studied um, Daniel Dickens, the star linebacker in the league, and we can actually see that his personality has rubbed off on us a little bit. So that's good. Morale will obviously go up and down all the time, but we got a bit of team playing, sportsmanship, disposition, and leadership by studying him, as well as probably a little bit of our position skill as well. So that was good. If we go to activities as well, we can see that agility and speed should probably be our focus, maybe intelligence as well. So we'll ramp down on the physical training because we just increased in strength. So there's a lot of time until we do that again. But we'll just try to work on wherever we have the highest numbers here to maximize. After we finished studying that other linebacker, we started studying the next best guy, which is Raphael Davis. And we have even accumulated some free points here so we can make an extra effort in a game fairly early in the season, um, over the last season. So that's good. So let's just quickly take a look at the roster for the Pittsburgh Hammers. And let's just start by looking at who came into the roster. So let's start with the rookies, see what we drafted. So we drafted a bunch of guys. Just look at this. Right. So all of these with the zeros were undrafted free agents. So in round 1 we took a center and then some defensive line. So nothing really that's threatening our position at linebacker. So that's good. All right. So let's just look at everything. This so running green is the absolute star of the team. He was carrying us most of last season, and he is on a 4-year contract, so that's good. We'll be with him for the entirety of our contract here as well. And at running back, Lynn Tompkins was an absolute beast as well, and he's here for 4 years as well, so that's great. I'll ignore the offensive line. Let's see. Tight end Glenn Timone. It's sort of decent. They're fairly slow, all the tight ends, but they have good hands, which match well with our star quarterback. For receivers, let's see. A couple of semi-speedy guys. Nothing outrageously good. They're actually not that great. Cornerback is an absolute circus show, sideshow, or something appropriate. So Warren O'Brien here was a huge liability last season. He botched so many coverages. Um, Well, a couple of them have good speed at least, but if O'Brien is starting, then and especially if Pereira is starting as well, that'll be a problem in our. And at linebacker, we have clawed our way to exactly where we were last season, but we're getting closer to being the third best overall. Now, obviously, since both our head coach and our defensive coordinator like versatile linebackers, it looks like we are getting the start at least over one of these guys because we're seeing the field a lot. Defensive tackle. This guy's pretty good. And this guy's pretty good. That's also okay. Defensive end. Both of these guys are actually really good. So outside of, yeah, free safety, good. Strong safety is good. Yeah, so outside of cornerback, the team is actually looking pretty solid. We could use some better receivers, but it was working last season, and we didn't change any starters, it looks like. If we go to the transactions, we find Pittsburgh, then we can see. So a bunch of extensions, and then they sign some backups at all positions. All right. So with that said, let's go and set the training for training camp. So we were ditching athletic in favor of physical. Let's do it like that. And go through training camps and see where we're at. Oi, a huge training camp. Oh my god, that's gonna be good. We're now up to 80 in tackling, and 83 in speed, and 96 in endurance. So that was a huge boost for us. That's really, really good. And we are very close to getting another point in endurance. Fairly close in agility as well. So far so good. Still have a little ways to go. So I should also say that before we end, that I was also keeping an eye on our coaches to see if any of those were replaced, but both the coordinators and the head coach stayed. We did get a new general manager, but that's not a huge issue or something that we need to be preoccupied with because we have such a long contract. So with that said, we can conclude this first episode, and in the next episode we will be taking a look at the first game of the season, see who we are facing. So we actually have Cleveland, no stat shed of course, so we have that to look forward to. All right, see you next time.